Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Welcome back, Maverick family. I think we are now live on all platforms except one. But there's nothing I can do about that. So be it. And in fact, actually, there are a couple of others. Let me just make one other change. I appreciate you guys coming back. No, it's already set up. Okay, so we're good to go. I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I took some time to fix the live stream. No idea why I didn't catch. The main Rumble channel wasn't online, but we're online now, so that's the main thing. And we have interesting things to discuss, some important ground to cover tonight as we explore today's top news stories. We will bring you the most up-to-date information that we have on this Save the Children convoy, which is supposed to happen sometime in September, and we'll give you the latest on that. I do have some information that I think you'll be interested in. We're also going to talk about Imran Khan, former leader of Pakistan, who has now been banned from politics for 5 years. And I will kind of lay it out the best I can here tonight and explain why I think that he is Pakistan's Donald Trump. We have other news too, the wildfires in Maui. I have a flying Toyota Corolla for you to show you. We'll touch on the efforts to ban paper bags now that they've kind of figured out a way to do away with plastic. They're coming after your paper bags now. And those are sort of the main things that we're going to talk about tonight. So stick with me. I'll get the first stories lined up. But we're going to go to a break here while I do that and I'll click on some buttons while you watch this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. tomorrow. Maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And I'm back. The other day, I was on Kevin Michelizzi's show. We were talking about censorship, politics, a variety of different subjects on American in Crimea, I think is the name of his channel. Anyway, he was very gracious and invited me to appear on his program to talk about the censorship issues that we are facing here in Canada. And he went to the chat, let some people ask me some questions through the chat. And one of the questions that came up was about Imran Khan, the former prime minister of Pakistan. And I basically just took a pass on it. I didn't really want to comment because I don't follow politics in Pakistan that extensively. And I know that he has had some trouble over there, to say the least. But I didn't really want to comment because I don't really have a strong position on his situation. However, there has been since then, a development on the Imran Khan front in that he has been banned from politics for 5 years. So I see him as kind of a populist politician in Pakistan. I see him as Pakistan's Donald Trump in a way. And so I think that this story is relevant here in North America and of particular interest to people in the freedom movement, on the populist side, conservatives, MAGA supporters, people who like Trump, even people who like other populist or conservative politicians and candidates and are maybe that oriented in that way ideologically here in Canada and the US. So I think it's important that we actually talk about this because politics has become so global in scope and focus. And I think what's happening in Pakistan is a reflection of that. You're seeing so many similarities over there to what is happening here in North America. So as I say, former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been dealt a major blow in his political career. He's been banned from engaging in politics for the next 5 years. They arrested this guy. In a stunning turn of events, the Election Commission of Pakistan, or ECP, has announced its decision today. So just a little earlier this week, Khan, who just recently faced a corruption case, has been declared ineligible to participate in any public office due to his conviction. This marks a significant chapter in Khan's political journey. His once thriving constituency now stands empty as his disqualification reverberates through the political landscape of Pakistan. According to Pakistani law, a convicted individual is barred from seeking any public office for a duration specified by the Election Commission. It's a consequence that has been anticipated by many, including Khan's aide, who stated to the media that he knew it was inevitable. Now, despite this setback, the party that Khan led remains steadfast in its belief that the decision will be reversed through legal channels. Khan, who vehemently denies any wrongdoing, has been handed a 3-year prison sentence for misdeclaration of foreign assets during his tenure as prime minister from 2018 to 2022. The sentencing took place over the weekend, culminating in his arrest at his Lahore residence. He was subsequently transported to a facility near the capital. Khan's legal team has already taken action, filing an appeal to challenge the guilty verdict. The Islamabad High Court is set to convene to address this matter. Khan's lawyer, Naeem Panjutha, argues that the conviction lacks lawful authority and is tainted by bias. The appeal also contends that Khan did not receive a fair hearing and that critical due process was compromised. The interesting thing that I find here is the choice of words, the language. The political ideology that seems to drive Mr. Khan and his supporters, some of them. They make a lot of references to the people, and it smacks of, where it gives a nod to or has an air of common law to it. It's very interesting to hear the rhetoric and the choice of words. Here's what Mr. Khan looks like. He's in our thumbnail on some of the channels tonight. This article from Al Jazeera. And there he is. Now, he was a cricket star, kind of almost like a national hero because of his achievements in cricket. The court proceedings had seen a swift pace, especially after Khan's refusal to attend hearings despite repeated summonses and arrest warrants. If this conviction stands, it will effectively bar Khan from participating in the upcoming elections, a pivotal consequence with far-reaching implications. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Does it seem to be like a mirror image of what is going on with Mr. Trump in some respects? Interestingly, the response to Khan's imprisonment this time around has been notably different from his previous arrest. Analysts suggest that a crackdown on PTI workers following Khan's earlier arrest, along with the stringent laws passed by the coalition government, has contributed to a more subdued reaction from the public. So as this situation unfolds, we'll continue to provide updates on it as I'm able to. I really did not want to comment on it the other day on Kevin's program, and I'm really reluctant to take a strong position on this even here because I don't know much about Imran Khan. I don't know how likely it is that he is guilty or innocent either way of these charges against him. I know how politics works, and you can see what's happening here in North America, where they go after populist candidates or politicians like Trump, or populist politicians in Canada as well, or supporters of populist ideas. Sometimes they put them right in jail, especially if they start talking about things like common law. It's just the way it seems to be. And it's not to say, again, like I can't say for certain that is really where Imran Khan is, but the language is similar. I'm just seeing some similarities there. I'm seeing the attacks against him as being very similar in nature. And instead of trying to, I guess, deal with Imran Khan politically, his opponents, who now have power again, are choosing to deal with him through the legal system and lawfare, afraid that maybe they can't beat him at the ballot box. So they'll just take him out in the court system, prevent him from running, just disqualify him, lay some charges, see what dirt they can dig up on him. Now, I guess some of these allegations of corruption are related to gifts that he had received or has received from time to time while he was prime minister. Some of it's related to that without fully disclosing that he had received some of these things. But again, very reluctant to comment much further on it, lest I get myself into a little bit of uncharted waters where I might not fully understand what I'm talking about. And the thing about this stuff too is even when you think you know, because you have been reading media reports, those reports come to you with a level of bias. And when you think you've educated yourself by using any kind of media source, you better keep on digging because there's always a lot more below the surface with politics than meets the eye and a lot more than is reported. So, every day for me, especially over the last 3 years, has been something of a journey. Every day, a new revelation. The things that I thought were true were not true. And the things that I thought were true because I found that the other things were not true. The new things that I thought were true are no longer true because I found other stuff that shows that it's kind of true, but not totally true. And that's the other thing that I've come to realize as a journalist is that sometimes, quite often actually, there can be more than one truth. It's not always that one side is telling the truth and the other side is lying. So if you catch one side lying, it doesn't mean that the other guy or somebody on another side is automatically telling you the truth. It gets to be very complicated. You really need to dig into things and get as close to the truth as you can by gathering up as many facts as you possibly can. But that's as much as I'm going to say about Imran Khan tonight. Important story though, and I think certainly worth taking note of just because of the parallels that are obviously present. Stay with me. More important stuff right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Well, we've had a big wildfire season here in Canada. Unprecedented numbers of wildfires in this country, and now Maui, Hawaii, also hit by wildfires, devastating wildfires. So tonight we know that at least 6 people have been killed as a result of these fires on the big island of Hawaii. And an state of emergency has been declared for the whole island. All non-essential travel to that vacation destination is being discouraged. People are being told, if you go there, don't expect that it's going to be the relaxing vacation that you would normally experience because you will probably have trouble. You will have trouble even just accessing everyday essentials and other resources while you're there. They've got some serious problems. Here is some footage from the island to show you how severe this is. This is really devastating. Here we go. Unbelievable. We have some other footage here for you as well. Here we go. Hang on.
Oh, we made it. We're going to line on the road now pretty soon. We're almost to the end of the mill. We're almost to the smokestack. Oh, we made it. We're going to line on the road now pretty soon. Somebody's down right there. Who? Somebody's down right there. Yeah, somebody's down. Just go there. We cannot do nothing for her. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Just go there. Just go. Oh. We cannot do nothing for her. What the fuck, dude? Just go. Go, people, go. Beat the word, Dad. Oh my God, bro. Oh. Yeah, beat the word. Just go. Gotta see. Yeah, I know you can't see. We're almost to the end of.
Wow. Really? You couldn't do anything for her? I wasn't there. Shouldn't judge, I guess. Oh my God. Wow. Looks like a bomb went off. Looks like a bomb went off. Hang on, there's more. There's more. A lot of businesses destroyed, cars burned out. It's not just trees. Look, an entire business area just destroyed. So you can see why a state of emergency has been called for the entire island. Just devastating. And here's look at the smoke from this. So, the Maui Chamber of Commerce says that the entire island has been ravaged by fires from the mountain to the ocean. In some areas look like they have been completely leveled. As I say, like bombs have gone off. The head of the Chamber of Commerce says that we've lost a lot of homes. He says they've lost a lot of business places. They've lost cultural and historic resources that were in the Chinatown area. They've simply burned to the ground. They're seeing fires unlike anything they've seen before. And again, even the business leaders there are saying, don't come to the island right now. It's not going to be the Maui vacation that you planned, because anyone going is going to have a hard time accessing resources. Emergency service personnel are still in search and rescue mode. More than 2,100 people are in shelters in Maui County. In fact, officials say emergency shelters are currently overrun because of the disaster. They're saying it's just not a safe place to be. And you saw that those people driving by, that woman laying on the ground, and they said, there's nothing we can do. They just drove right past. I sure hope she's okay. I hope somebody stopped to help her. So I guess high winds are contributing to the problems there. And again, this is a developing story, which we will continue to follow in the hours and the days ahead. Back here in Canada, they don't want you to have plastic bags, and now they don't want you to have paper bags either. It drives me crazy because when I go to the grocery store, I always forget to take a box or a bag to throw my groceries in, and you can't get a plastic bag there anymore. No bags. You have to buy the reusable ones. I don't want to buy a new bag every time I go to the grocery store, and I forget to take mine. So the way I deal with it is I throw my groceries in my shopping cart and then I wheel them out to the car and I dump them all in the back of the hatchback loose. Then I get home, then I go find a box or a bag and then I take them in because I'm just I'm just so set in my ways, I guess. I just always forget to take the stupid reusable bag. Well, now the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, here where I live, the provincial liquor regulatory body, which also runs they run the liquor stores, right? Where people go and buy their booze. They are going to get rid of their paper bags. Here, take a look at this. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, because maybe you don't live here in Ontario, there's an LCBO bag, kind of a staple, part of for anybody that consumes alcohol. I'd say that those bags have become part of the culture of this part of Canada. Anyway, now they want to get rid of them. So as of September 5th, no more plastic bags. Customers are going to be encouraged to bring their own reusable bag when shopping in store, and alternatively may purchase a reusable bag. They're saying that the initiative will help minimize the impact on the environment and create a more sustainable Ontario. Boxes and 8-pack carriers for cans and small bottles will still be available for free. But those bags, there's going to be gonzo. The provincial agency, the LCBO, says the move would save the equivalent of 188,000 trees each year and divert about 2,665 tons of waste from landfills. The LCBO permanently ditched plastic bags 15 years ago, so they're way ahead of the curve on everything. 15 years ago, they got rid of the plastic, leaving only the paper. The paper's always been there. That's a lot of paper. 188,000 trees. Maybe the problem isn't the paper bags. Maybe it's that maybe drinking a little too much there, Ontarians. That's a lot of paper. That's a lot of bottles. That's a lot of booze. Just saying.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So it looks like Mike Pence has qualified to participate in the upcoming GOP debate. So there's that, if it matters. I don't think he stands a chance, but he got enough donors enough individual donors. I think it's 40,000 you need. And so he'll be in the debate. Will Donald Trump show up? I don't think so. Maybe, I don't know. Hard to say. But they're exchanging verbal niceties, Trump and some of his opponents, Chris Christie being one of them. Chris Christie says that if Donald Trump had the guts to show up, he could throw this insult at him in his face to face. He says, if you had got the guts, you'd show up and say this to my face. What? Say what? Well, say this. Say this. This is from his speech the other night. I think it's funny.
Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him.
Hang on, I'm going to roll it back to the beginning.
See, I'm trying to be nice.
Here we go.
Who's good? No, Christie's he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him. See, I'm trying to be nice. Don't call him a fat pig. You can't do it. You can't do that. So now, because you're not allowed to do that, and therefore we're not going to do it, okay? We want to be very civil, right? So the latest.
I think that's funny. And on Twitter, X, what do you call this platform anymore? Twitter? Or do you call it X? I don't know what you call it. Anyway, here, I'll show you what Chris Christie had to say. He says, I'd paraphrase, but I want to show you exactly. He says right here, he says, if you had the guts, you would show up to the debate and say it to my face. Yeah, I don't think he's afraid to tell that to you, to your face. I'm pretty sure he's not afraid. Funny. Is that the kind of thing we should be talking about when choosing the next president of the United States? Probably not. I'm pretty sure we shouldn't be focused on that kind of stuff, but we are because it's entertaining. Says a lot about where we're at politically here. And this says a lot about where we're at as a society. I found this on social media, just kind of came across it today, and it sort of rings true. Here we go. You can vax the entire planet, but you can't feed the starving. That's very true. The effort they put into getting those vaccines out was unprecedented, and yet we still have starving people. So now I guess you're vaccinating the impoverished and the people who are starving to death. You're vaccinating people who are starving to death. True fact. And sad. What else is sad? There was also this. And you may have seen this on social media, or maybe just when going into hospitals. See if I can find this for you. Have you seen the vaccine injury placards or stickers or whatever they're putting on the doors of healthcare facilities now in Canada? This is interesting. Vaccine Injury Support Program. So I didn't think this would ever be necessary, right? Because we were told that it was 100% perfectly safe and nothing bad would ever happen. And yet here we are, right there, as you can see. Vaccine Injury Support Program. Government of Canada quietly rolls out new website, vaccineinjurysupport.ca. Shall we go and take a look? See what it's like? Let's check it out. Vaccineinjurysupport.ca. Put a typo in there, of course. So I better fix that or it won't go to the website. There it is. Let's take a look at the website together. Okay, bringing it up on the screen here. Your tax dollars at work again. The debate, but he is, as I understand it, preparing to attend the, what is it? The Iowa State Fair. If he hasn't already. Anyway, here's the government website for vaccine injury support. So if anybody needs this, now you know where to go. Submit a claim, frequently asked questions. So for all the people who were told that you didn't have anything to worry about, that there was, it was totally safe, but you wound up in a different kind of place, then now you know where to go so that the government who told you the one thing can deal with the other thing. Frequently asked questions. Let's take a look at that page. What are they saying? Download a program brochure, inquiry, steps for claimants. The average claim can take 12 to 18 months to process. So if you're sick, they'll expedite it. It'll only take like a year and a half. No big deal. Just sit back and wait. Canadian healthcare system in motion. So you start with an inquiry and consult the eligibility criteria for the Vaccine Injury Support Program, the VISP. If you feel you may be eligible, download the application forms or contact the government at 1-833-489-0839 to request the forms. Then you submit it, and then they review it. A physician from the VISP will review your application and determine which medical records are required to fully assess your claim. And then, as the fourth step, there's retrieval. Medical records will be collected with your consent. At this point, you can contact those in possession of your records to expedite the process. At this point, I don't know how many months have passed. Then, step 5, there will be a determination. A panel of 3 VISP physicians will determine if the vaccine was the probable cause of the injury and if the injury is severe and permanent. This will determine the eligibility and the level of financial support. So it looks like they want to give away some free money to people who have been permanently injured, if any. And I guess they get to decide. And number 6, the result. A case manager will contact you with the result of your claim and relay the medical opinions of the panel. They will also explain the next available steps. What vaccines are covered by the VISP? All current and future Health Canada authorized vaccines, or immunoglobulins that provide protection from preventable infectious disease administered in Canada on or after December 8th, 2020, will be covered under the VISP. This includes vaccines authorized under the Food and Drug Regulations, as well as the interim order respecting the importation, sale, and advertising of drugs for use in relation to COVID-19. So yes, it will apply to the COVID vaccines. What constitutes a serious and permanent injury? Well, they give you, award you a compensation It says here, a serious and permanent injury is defined as a severe, life-threatening, or life-altering injury that may require in-person hospitalization or a prolongation of existing hospitalization and results in persistent or significant disability or incapacity, or where the outcome is a congenital malformation or death. What does no fault mean? This could be important. The Vaccine Injury Support Program is premised on the notion of no fault. This means that financial support to eligible claimants is provided regardless of responsibility or possible fault. For example of the claimant manufacturer or health professional administering the vaccine. A no-fault program ensures timely access to financial support. So in other words, you don't get to sue. This is like no-fault car insurance. Anyone involved on any level, at any time, throughout the process of rolling out, distributing, administering the vaccines, nobody is liable. However, the government will look at your case, and if they determine that you were injured, you might get some sort of compensation. What that will look like, I do not know. We will have to wait and see what they offer up. The fact that this is even happening, the fact that this program even exists for me, shows that the mandates were not just inappropriate, but worse. Unbelievable that we are in this situation. What kind of financial support payments will the VISP provide? Eligible individuals may receive income replacement indemnities, injury indemnities, death benefits, coverage for funeral expenses, reimbursement of eligible costs, such as otherwise uncovered medical expenses. How much? The amount of financial support an individual will receive will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Amounts will be based on a predetermined financial support payment framework. The framework will align with compensation provided under the Quebec Vaccine Injury Compensation Program and informed by other public and private sector injury compensation practices. Am I required to waive my right to pursue litigation in order to be eligible to receive compensation through VISP? In other words, if you accept the money, do you give up your right to sue? The VISP does not require claimants to waive their rights to pursue litigation. However, individuals may be required to repay some or all financial support received through VISP if a subsequent court award or settlement compensates for the same injury. However, we do know that immunity has been provided to the big pharma companies for at least some of these vaccines. How long do you have to file your claim? 3 years from the time they receive the vaccination or at the apparent onset of injury or death. Compensation will be retroactive from the date of the injury. So, my goodness. And again, how long to process this? Well, you've already seen at the beginning, it was like 12 to 18 months just to process it. Wow. The VISP is being administered and delivered independently by RCGT with funding from the Public Health Agency of Canada. Decisions on individual claims are made by a committee of independent medical experts, and neither PHAC or Health Canada is involved in the decision of individual claims. See, in my view, if there is any possibility at all of any kind of injury, adverse reaction, at all, there is no way that people should ever be compelled, forced, coerced in any way to take any kind of medication or anything for that matter. And yet they push this stuff. And they really did. I mean, it was so coercive. You all know. What a nightmare. And I listened to online community meetings where they were telling pregnant women, totally safe. Don't even worry about it. Well, if it's so safe, why do you have a vaccine injury support program now that is connected to exactly those medications? Why do you need it? If you need that, then there's no way anybody should ever in any way, even like not even a little bit of coercion should never have happened. I don't know. More lawsuits needed, I think. Heavier challenges. And especially now, the existence of this program itself gives weight to any kind of legal challenge and the unconstitutionality of those mandates in Canada. The ethics, that's universal. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so what we can move on to next here. The Red Cross, since we're still on this, since we're talking about health care issues, the Red Cross in the U.S. is implementing FDA policy now, which will allow more gay and bisexual men to donate blood. We've seen this in Canada too. We did pretty extensive episode on that, actually. So the FDA issued guidelines back in May stating that all potential blood donors must answer a series of individual risk-based questions to decide eligibility. And men who are in or say they're in monogamous sexual relationships with other men will be able to donate blood. People regardless of gender or sexual orientation who acknowledge that they have had sex with multiple partners, and if you have kids, you might want to have them cover their ears. But if they've been having anal sex in the last 3 months, then they'll be asked to wait 3 months before they donate blood from the last time they had anal sex. So that's what the Red Cross is going to be doing. They're altering their policies in accordance with new FDA guidelines. See, the FDA originally banned donations from gay and bisexual men during the 1980s. That's when the HIV/AIDS crisis, came to a real peak. It was a huge concern at the time, and we saw tainted blood supplies destroy lives. In recent years, though, the FDA has relaxed the rules surrounding blood donations from gay and bisexual men. They didn't really, lift them completely, though. And now The new blood donation risk assessment will be the same for every single donor, regardless of how they identify. So, medical groups and LGBTQ organizations have criticized the FDA's previous rule from back in 2015, which relaxed a complete ban on donations from gay and bisexual men, but asked men to abstain from sex for at least 1 year before donation. So they're becoming progressively more lenient in who can donate blood and making it easier and easier for gay and bisexual men to donate. And if you think back to the 80s, I mean, it became pretty clear early on that the high risk groups were gay, bisexual men, especially those with multiple partners, intravenous drug users. That's how the disease was spreading, predominantly, was in those demographic groups. So it makes sense to me to say that if you're in one of those high-risk groups, maybe you should not be allowed to donate blood. I don't see that personally as a problem. I don't see that as being discriminatory. I think it's being cautious. And because early on, the blood supply became contaminated, tainted with people who are donating from high-risk groups, those rules were put in place. Now they're being relaxed again. And I'm sorry, I disagree with it. I think that they're playing with fire. Now, they can point to whatever science they want to point to, but even the waiting period, the time when engaging in certain kinds of sexual activity, saying like 3 months, I'm not sure that that's long enough either. A year, maybe, but even then, because sometimes people just lie for a lot of different reasons. Why would they? People just do. They're embarrassed about things. And all it takes is one mistake, right? And I know that it can be hard to get people to donate blood to make sure that the blood supply is adequate, but with everything that goes on out there, it's a sticky, sticky world. It truly is. And a high level of caution is prudent. I don't think it's right, but we will see how that works out over the long haul. Same thing in Canada. Same thing in Canada. Okay, so let's take another quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Save the Children convoy. I have the latest info for you. Don't go away. Be right back after this.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Say no to bugs.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, so the Save the Children convoy. What's going on with it? Well, I wanted to talk about it tonight because it is getting actually some mainstream media attention. We know that this convoy is supposed to happen around September sometime, and I have spoken to some people who have some involvement with it. And I did want to draw attention to it tonight because a lot of people are very interested in it. There is a lot of talk about it. And now the mainstream media is focusing on it, but I wouldn't say it's focusing on it in a good way. So I'll show you what's happening on that front, but start with this just to kind of give you some perspective on how people are viewing it. Some people here saying that Convoy 2023 East versus West, or East meets West, Save the Children more than 3 times the size of the Freedom Convoy. Hard to believe, it says here, but people of Canada have not given up and not forgotten. Neither have I. Time to really stand up for our freedom and the children. This blows my mind and brings tears to my eyes. Honk, honk. Let's do this, Canada. We got this. This is somebody named Tammy. So, people, I'm sorry, I didn't actually get that up on the screen for you, did I? No, I hate the way that new thing is going with this streaming software. Here, I'll show you. So that's where that post was that I was reading from on Facebook. So that's not brand new, but that gives you what some of the expectations are here. And so we know that, there have been a lot of meetings taking place. And while nobody seems to want to kind of come forward and say that they're an organizer, it's pretty clear that there have been people taking some leadership roles in all of this. And one of those people is Moose McDavid from Western Canada, Alberta.
Take this country back and fight for these children. This group has zero affiliation with any government. Listen, it's a de facto government. They're illegally, let's say, unlawfully in power. We don't want nothing to do with those guys. Those degenerates haven't stood for Canadians. The reason why this country's in trouble is because it's a corporation, and we got way too many corporations involved. And I believe that's since 1932. We've had the opportunity to write a constitution, and they've been just running roughshod over us. And slowly, year after year, they throw a few more things in there. Next thing you know, we're at this point we're at right now. We're at the point of no return, guys. And if anybody says we got people that are working in this group that talk every day, if anybody says that we've been infiltrated by bad people and we got bad people making decisions, I call horseshit right now. The NDP, I'm hearing rumors that they're going to try and infiltrate the orange shirt movement. That's our movement, the orange shirts. But there could be 50 orange shirt movements on this planet right now. But we got one, and it's to save the children. And we're serious, and we're not here to mess around. Are we going to build signs like this if we're messing around? Like, come on, guys. Look at the signs. We will fight for you even if your parents won't. Save the Children Convoy. Like, come on, guys. Get your heads out of the ground. Listen, if you guys think it's bad now, let's just sit back for 6 months and do nothing. And then we'll see where you guys are at. Really at. I know where the country's going to be in 6 months. She's going to be CBDC, full lockdown, more immigrants coming in, more dysfunction, more. They're doing everything possible to destroy the moral fabric of this country, guys. Everything possible, including bringing in immigrants that are sitting on their asses doing nothing.
So yeah, it's a pretty serious sign. I guess if you're gonna do something serious, you need serious sign, and that's a pretty big one, and a lot of issues there, and it seems to be different this time around. Pretty clear from what Mr. McDavid had to say that there's a real emphasis here on the common law ideology, concepts, and the original convoy, the Freedom Convoy, it was focused, on mandates. This convoy dealing with a lot of different things, and it's got a different tone to it. That is for sure. Now, what's the approach going to be? Well, we don't have all the details right now. We do have, I've had conversations with some of the people involved, and they have acknowledged that they have some problems right now because there are some people who, I guess they're afraid, or they're making accusations that some illegal things might be done and so on. But the people I've spoken to keep saying that they want to do this peacefully. That's what they keep telling me. And there's an unusual little twist to this that I'll get into in a moment. But here's the Angry Scotian explaining kind of where things have been at over the last even just few days, because he has been traveling across Canada, involved with a number of these meetings where they're trying to bring different freedom groups, organizations, and common law groups together to discuss strategy.
Yeah, it is what it is. So
Here we go. Oh,
there's been a lot of shit going on. Alien.
come on.
Oh,
Get up
Christina. There. Anyway, so we'll get it rolling.
Coming up on this. There it is. Okay.
Like I said, share this out. There's a lot of people that are following this, and for all the people out there throwing mud, there's a lot more people following shit too, hey, Dina. So anyway, division is rearing its ugly head. Negative energies are attacking our spirits and our souls very hard. Hey, Linda. So that's on purpose. That's that low energy, low vibrational frequency. Hey, Betty. Hey, Ed. That they want us to operate from. That's where they want us to be, in that fucking low frequency vibration bullshit. And that's why the division comes, because people get caught up in the mudslinging. You feel like you got to defend yourself or defend somebody else and all this bullshit. And really, you don't. You don't have to do that at all. The best thing to do is just ignore it. The only reason I address any of this stuff is there's a lot of people that are following what's going on, and I feel a huge weight and responsibility to address this stuff to those people, and much respect to all of them as well. Helped out with everything along the way. So that's the only reason I bring this stuff into my lives. Otherwise, I would ignore it altogether, and I just keep moving forward. I am going to move forward regardless. Hey, Diana. And nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to stop a lot of us that are involved in this. We don't care. We're moving towards the end game, and we all know we don't have a choice. So, like I said, rising above all this is not weakness. You can't look at it as that. In fact, it's the epitome of fucking strength of character, as it takes a lot of self-confidence and self-respect to not get drug into the mudslinging to protect your own ego. You don't need to defend yourself if you know who you truly are and what you truly stand for. Allowing yourself to get drugged down into that energy, yes, again, energy is that low vibrational spectrum. This is where they want us to be, because this is where we don't have any power. All of our power is above that. All of our power is believing in the peacefulness of things, and the love and energy and positive energy and moving forward and brotherhood and all this kind of stuff. We don't need any of this other bullshit. So yeah, you don't have to do that. So you see, we are working towards the Great Awakening. They call it the Great Reset, but it's more like the Great Awakening, which means giving the power back to the people. That means removing the veil of deceit, shining the light on all the lies, uncovering the illusionary powers of the corporate slavery system. Therefore, as they know this, and they know this, they know everything that's going on. Hey, Lana, they literally know what's happening. So, like I said, as they know this, they are using everything that they can, every tool that they have in their fucking toolbox to keep us from coming together. That's the design of all this, the visionary bullshit, to keep us from coming together, because that's where strength truly lies. Fear mongering via fucking media. You know, now they're talking about alien attacks and fucking nuclear war and all this horse shit, you know, etc. Distractions such as Trudeau splitting and all that bullshit. Like, who cares? None of that stuff matters. They also use controlled opposition and paid opposition, hey Roxanne, to spread negative messages and sling mud against a plan or solution, which is basically about the people coming together as one in their true power. They all feed off this low vibrational energy field where we are all fighting amongst ourselves. That's what they want to happen, right? Typically. So like I said, typically we're all fighting about the things that are insignificant in the big picture. Like, this person's that, this person's not. Hey, Gilbinin, you know, who cares? That in the big picture, none of that matters. We all have the same common enemy. We know what's going on in this world. We know who's trying to take control of everything, and we got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. You know what I mean? So, anyway, yeah. Hey, Troy. Anyway, so it's not that they're insignificant on your own in the simpleness of it, but when you look at the whole big picture, they are insignificant little bullshit things that we're all bickering about. And that's saving our children. And saving our children is us saving fucking the humanity and the future of humanity. And all of them other things are minor details. So why get hung up on that bullshit, man? You know, the bottom line is this. Do you really want fucking change? Like, I mean, really? If so, like, what are you willing to do? How fucking serious are you? Hey, Carla. Yeah, how fucking serious are you, man? Do you understand that this fucking all bullshit is trivial bullshit when compared to the big picture? Clear your fucking mind. Focus on the big picture. We can do this, but there's only one way, and we must come together. That is the way. That is where real power lies, together as one. And I'm so fucking tired of dealing with this divisive bullshit. It's completely a fucking waste of time and energy. And the idea is so fucking simple on so many levels. People come together and it ends. That's it. That's all. You know, simple. It's not rocket science, man. And I mean, that's the problem. It is so simple, yet we're letting it slip through your fingers. So simple as that. Everyone claims to know this. All these people claim to know this. Divide and conquer is their big tool and strategy that they use against us. They, you know, whether it's racism or sexism or this or that, whatever, that's what they use against us. And they use that to keep us under their fucking feet. Yet, even when we all understand this and we all say we have this knowledge, we all continue to fall for it. Like, seriously, for fuck's sakes, man, stop the fucking insanity. Everything that has happened in these past 3 years is our fucking fault. Each and every one of us, even on here, it's our fucking fault. It is our fault, and I'll explain that. So these so-called 1%, you know, are in fact the ones pushing this fucking bullshit narrative on humanity as a whole. That's a fact. However, right from the very beginning, we had the power to end it all. We've always had the fucking power to end it all. That's it. That's all. And now here we are. Everything's shifting. Men and women coming together all across races and religions to stand together to save the children, to save our future, to save fucking humanity. And somehow people are falling into the fucking bickering, arguing, and divisive fucking bullshit trap. What the fuck is going on? We could have stopped this at any given time, and we allowed this to happen. So they can't implement any of these narratives without us on board. You know what I mean? They need us to do this stuff. They can't do it without us. That's why they have to keep us in these low fucking energy fields, these low vibrational fields, because that's where they win. That's where they get us. So, admittedly, as we are all aware, there are controlled opposition, paid opposition elements out there. However, they show you who they are. If you just open your fucking eyes, man. Do they have a solution, or are they just attacking any action plans? Start seriously seeing what's right in front of you. That's it, man. The truth is, at this point, there are no fucking heroes. Nothing has been accomplished. to end any of this fucking tyranny. There are lots of warriors who haven't strayed from the battlefield, who hold the line and have held the line the whole entire time. Just like my buddy Marcel says, I met in London, wicked fucking dude, hold the line, hold the line. You know what I mean? There's people out there that have been holding the line the whole entire fucking time. And the victory is at hand. That's the truth of it. It's right fucking in front of us. So we have a chance. We have a chance right now. So do we grab it with both fucking hands and run with it? Or do we argue and bicker and fucking go back and forth amongst ourselves and let it slip right through our fingers? You know, people got to decide what the fuck they want here.
Okay. So that goes on, and Gordy has been on this program just a short time ago talking about Save the Children Convoy. This was a little update. I think he might even be on here tomorrow night to give us more information about all of that. And he's acknowledging that there has been a lot of division within the freedom movement as it relates to this convoy, but they're still pushing ahead. I know that they're still having meetings. I can tell you that. And as you saw from that clip, he also is a common law advocate and wants a massive change in the way this country is governed. I don't know exactly what that will look like in the end if he is successful in doing what he would like to do. But I do know that even other common law advocates are coming out, have come out against or have expressed extreme concern about what is going on here. And that's the division that he's talking about. And here's an example of it online with Kellyanne Wolf. As the founder of the Canadian Democratic Defense Association and the executive director for Hugs Over Masks, MAD, and liaison to several grassroots organizations in our nationwide movement, I want to make a public declaration that myself and all of the organizations I am connected to fully denounce all acts of criminal or that can be argued as criminal, be it to an individual, organization, corporation, or state. This includes actions that assert or encourage the violent or non-violent seizure of property. We will always support the rights and campaigns to defend the rights of individuals with the force of and within the boundaries of law. So, what does that mean? I'm not exactly sure. I can only speculate, but I don't really want to get into too much of that because we want to deal in facts. And then there was this. Sorry, that's the wrong one. That's the one we just showed you. Another group also expressing concern in much the same way. This is Freedom Through Unity, Peterborough, Kawartha. Melissa Ann Outwater, I guess. It appears to be the person who posted this. I hope that's accurate. It appears to be. As a founder of Freedom Through Unity and an administrator of other groups, I have a duty to protect our group and our membership. I want to make a public declaration that myself, Melissa Outwater, and all of the organizations I am connected to fully denounce all acts of criminal or that can be argued as criminal, be it to an individual, organization, corporation, or state. Same basic wording. This includes actions that assert or encourage the violent or nonviolent seizure of property. Is someone planning to seize something, seize property, seize something? I have no involvement in any plan or plans of treason or terrorism on any persons or land. We will always support the rights and campaigns to defend the rights of individuals within the boundaries of law. That's an interesting statement. Is someone planning to commit an act of treason? What is treason? Who's guilty of treason? I've been told that they plan to be peaceful in doing whatever it is that they plan to do. I'm hearing some people say that other things might be happening. These people have come out with these statements from some of these freedom groups. They don't want to be associated with it. I know that there are other groups that don't want to be associated with it. People are worried, concerned. As I say, this thing is taking on a different tone, but the people who are pushing ahead with it are saying it's happening one way or another, and they're disputing some of these other claims. What's the truth? I can only tell you what people are saying, and I can only show you or tell you what people are doing as that information becomes available. This is where we're at. There is still division and a rising level of concern as well. Now, earlier this month, actually it was the last month. No, it was 30th, I guess. So not long ago, we did show you this as well. This appeared in Canadian Trucker magazine. And let me show you what that was looking like. There is a First Nations element to some of this. It does tie in. We've told you about this before. And there is this notice that was issued, a public notice. And it relates to a sort of land claim. And the public notice reads, all brothers and sisters from Turtle Island are hereby invited by the authority of the Great Spirit of to the sovereign, unceded territory of the hereditary Algonquin Nation to peacefully assemble and parley regarding a constitutional confederacy on or before 21 December 2023. The invitation is granted, or this invitation is granted, under the International Flag of Peace. Peace. A white square flag must be flown. No rectangular corporate flags will be allowed during this peaceful event. And you see all these different signatures, also backed up with fingerprints or thumbprints in blood. Some people have come forward to question the legitimacy of this, suggesting that the people who signed it on behalf of First Nations may not have the authority to do it. I can't say. I do know that some of those people seem to be leaders within their communities. So who am I to question that? I'm not a First Nations community member. I can only say that that is what has happened. And this map shows the area of what I would say, based on that public notice, this seems to be a land claim. And that area outlined in the dark line is being identified as Algonquin land. And this does tie in to the Save the Children convoy, which I'm told is supposed to go to Toronto. And I'm told we will get more information about this in due course and a further explanation. That is a huge piece of land. It takes in all of Ottawa. It takes in Whitney, Pembroke. It takes in the capital, Ottawa, as well, the whole city. And you cannot just dismiss these land claims when they come forward. The government will have to deal with that. And if First Nations leaders of any kind are asserting sovereignty over what they claim is unceded territory, you can kind of see where some of this might go, right? Now, I'm not sure exactly how all of this might play out, and I don't know what the plan beyond that is, but it seems that some of the people involved in this are expecting police to respond differently this time in some way. Here's the publisher of Canadian Trucking Magazine, Dave McKenzie. He is the one who agreed to publish that public notice on behalf of First Nations and apparently some of the people involved in this Save the Children convoy. And listen to what he has to say about police, the way they responded during the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa, and what he expects to have happen this time. And he's not alone in his assessment of this. I'm hearing similar talk from a lot of other people.
When we'll be on live tomorrow, Willie Nolan, hashtag save the children. Man, we're going to unite. We're going to unite like we've never been united before, with the law on our side. The law will be on our side. And trust me, this won't be like the 2022 where they brought in people to intimidate the legal demonstrators. They will not intimidate the people that will be with the East-West convoy. Trust me, they will not intimidate it. Not this time. And Willie says, have a great night, Dave and family, and CTM families, and Susan Seller.
So why? Why would it be different this time? I've heard people say that they expect police to stand down and join the movement, or whatever you call it. What would compel them to do that? Is it because there's a land claim? Is it because they would be on unceded territory? We'll have to get clarification on that. So why would police need to stand down? What if they don't? I've heard people discuss that on other live streams as well. And they've talked about how that might look. But, we're hearing that this time people are not backing down. So I don't know what that means either. And yet I keep hearing people say over and over and over and over again, this is supposed to be peaceful. So I can only give those involved the benefit of the doubt, right? So we'll see where it goes. All of this, getting more and more attention as time goes on, though. And as I say, I'm bringing it up tonight because, apparently there've been a lot of secret meetings taking place, and yet it doesn't seem like a lot of this is all that secret, honestly, because the mainstream media is even picking up on it now. And here's an example of an article. This is sort of a semi-mainstream media outlet, Press Progress. Let me find this article for you. Here it is here. So they've tapped into this, and they've been talking to some of the people involved as well. And look at the way they portray this. It is not favorable. It's very negative coverage overall. It says Canada's far right is planning a convoy to Toronto to save the children, and it's already spinning out of control. The Save the Children convoy is struggling as organizers accuse one another of being undercover cops or planning violence and terrorism. Well, some of that is true because we're seeing it on full display on social media, the fighting, the division. It is true. but how extensive it is, I'm not sure. And I know that Gordon and some others are all traveling across the country trying to bring people, different groups together. Says here, the Save the Children Convoy, a spinoff of recent anti-2S LGBTQ plus protests targeting schools and drag storytime events, as well as loosely inspired by the controversial film Sound of Freedom, is being planned for Toronto in late summer or early fall. Organizers say they are currently holding secret in-person meetings to iron out their plans and aren't sure where they'll stay when they get to Toronto. They also admit that what exactly they're trying to save the children from is not straightforward and could be open to multiple interpretations. Save the Children is basically a generic statement, obviously. Lead convoy organizer Gordon Berry told Press Progress, although Gordon will tell you he's not an organizer or a leader or whatever. He says there's a multitude of things you could be saving them from. Barry says the convoy wants to save the children from the human trafficking industry, but also from mandating the shots to kids and kids getting sick and frigging education and all the stuff they're teaching them in schools and the trans agenda and the math agenda, gender dysphoria, all of these things. You got to save them from the whole system. And the article goes on. And here's a poster that you can see. East meets West, Save the Children Convoy. World Health Organization and United Nations are instructing elementary schools worldwide to have pedophilia normalized, it says. See it, stop it, child trafficking, child pornography, child slavery, child exploitation, child abduction, neglect, grooming, suicide. Picture of a baby with a QR code on his forehead and a Masonic symbol behind him in the background. And then they also, in this article, identify Moose McDavid. And they talk about him making reference to a rise in child abductions since the beginning of, quote, pandemic, something he claims has led to thousands of missing children and mass suicides by parents. And then it says here, McDavid accuses Alberta's Child Protective Services of running a child trafficking ring and alleges the government of Alberta is colluding with insurance companies to produce child pornography. It says here that McDavid also claims, without evidence, that Trudeau's paying LGBTQ $1 million to promote the sexualization and the grooming of children in the hospitals and at schools and stuff. It says here, quote, get up off your goddamn couch and show some passion for this country and some passion for the children that don't have a voice. They get kidnapped, thrown in a rail car, McDavid told viewers on one of his TikTok videos, adding the children are being tortured, hunted down like animals by not the elites, but the degenerates on horseback. I'm not sure if that's an accurate quote. That's what it says here. And then this story goes on. They interview some people at the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. As I say, this reporting, not favorable at all to the convoy. You can see that while there might be some acknowledgement of division within the freedom movement, I would say the division is even more pronounced between the people involved and a lot of other people in the public and the people on the other side of the political equation, period. And that is illustrated here in the tone of this article. And, and here's Morgan May talking about division. I guess this was posted. I was sort of aware of this, but it says here, I have put this off too long. This is Jeremy McKenzie's girlfriend. I am disavowing this convoy. The behind-the-scenes leaders of this movement, I believe Marcus Ray and James Bowder, although I've heard people say that that is not true. are preying on the emotions of freedom lovers, in my honest opinion, IMHO, by disingenuously using the hashtag Save the Children slogan right after the release of The Sound of Freedom. When Christopher James and Marcus Ray planned the demonstration at the Regina Police Headquarters, they also that's a reference to something from about a year ago, another convoy thing. They all disingenuously advertised it as the biggest convoy to date. You don't want to miss it. They planned to appear to be military. They planned to appear to be militarized with shields purchased for protesters. Christopher James called on United States citizens to join and bring guns. Don't believe me? I'll post the video below. If anyone finds they are offended by this post or think I am trying to cause division, please explain to me how another smaller convoy will resolve the ongoing issues in this country and how the Emergencies Act will not be reenacted. The government has never given a shit about natives. Ask Louis Riel. Oh, wait. So also acknowledging here that she also sees that there's a First Nations element to this convoy and a possible assertion of, or assertion rather, of First Nations sovereignty, possibly to act as a legal shield against the actions of police, perhaps. I'm speculating. People are so desperate for change that they are being sucked into another psyop conveniently right before a potential fall federal election. Let's get more strategic and start running independents instead. Imagine a Canada filled with logical humanitarians, not to be confused with SJWs in political positions. So James Bowder, of course, with Canada Unity. I've been told that he's not involved in this. I think that he originally was looking at being involved, but I did speak to him actually myself. I called him up and asked him, and he said, nope, not involved. We will see. And then look at this. If you read on, it says right here, the last line. This week, reports surfaced that one of the Sound of Freedom's original funders had been arrested on child kidnapping charges in Missouri. This article written by Luc Lebrun, editor of Press Progress. You can find this article online and assess its balance and fairness for yourself. That is what was reported, and that's how it was reported. And since then, more mainstream media attention has been focused on the Save the Children convoy effort. And I can tell you that, well, somebody sent me this audio recording, which I will share with you now. This was the editor of Press Progress being interviewed on some pretty large radio stations here in Canada, out of Hamilton and I believe London, Ontario. And you can assess this for yourself as well. And listen to the tone of this again, not favorable at all. I suppose it shouldn't really surprise us, especially, it's mainstream, right? So let's hear what they had to say. This is just a portion of the recording.
Who's a director with the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, who I quote in my story with Press Progress. He makes the point, like some of these people are, they seem like they might have some serious, mental health issues, and there might be reasons to actually have some genuine sympathy for them because they're believing things that are just kind of really way out there. But the real danger is when you have people who truly fervently believe these things and then convince themselves, they're justified in doing anything to stop it because, the things that they believe are just so, from their point of view is just so abhorrent that they need to do anything. And so now you're actually seeing even some of the people that are attending their meetings. So they're actually organizing these secret in-person meetings where they're going to iron out their plans about this whole convoy. And you've actually seen some people coming out and sort of disavowing the group and saying that there are people inside these meetings who are planning, acts of violence, planning criminal acts, and so forth. In fact, actually, there's the guy you might recall who, you'll recall like a week or two ago in Belleville, there was a kind of an angry mob that mobbed Justin Trudeau at an event. And one of the ringleaders of that event actually put out a video disavowing this convoy because he says that they're, planning things that are basically violent, and they're talking about like placing politicians under citizens' arrest and so forth. And, so when the guy who was leading an angry mob against the prime minister is, expressing concern, that certainly gets your attention.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody that radical says these guys here are way too radical for me, but the concern here that he raised, and you talked about it in the piece, is you don't know how they're going to react or respond to situations like this, or what they might consider to be, valid attempts to try to fix what they think is wrong here. We used to just as a society, we'll look at these groups and say, aren't they funny? They're weird. Well, that's not paying any attention to them. But then we saw January 6th, and we saw Ottawa, and we've seen things in other parts of the country as well. And we've got to pay attention to them. I think if we've learned a lesson from this, is that you can't just pretend that they don't exist.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the other thing I'll say too is, I mentioned there are some members of these movements or these groups that, do seem to have some legitimate mental health issues, and, we should probably think about ways that we can address those things. But then you also have, there are people within these groups that are diehard ideologues that have a pretty extreme political agenda, and they are pretty malicious characters. But then you also have these other people who are, basically kind of like online hucksters and grifters who are trying to make money, right? Like they're selling merchandise or they're crowdfunding and asking for donations. And for them, it's kind of a business. So you sort of look at the way these different, you kind of have three different types of groups that are all kind of interacting here. And I think that's a big piece of the puzzle in trying to figure out, like how to kind of get this stuff calmed down.
Always a pleasure having you on the program. I always like the work that you're doing and the research that you get into these programs, and you bring some things to our attention that we need to be paying attention to. Thanks so much for this today, Luke.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the way that went down, man. And here's something weird. Speaking of freedom fighters, I'm pretty sure this is not true. But there's weird stuff going on out there. I don't even know if I should put this up. Somebody just sent me something that is kind of sick, actually. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. It's just too distasteful. It's actually an obituary posted for somebody who I don't think is dead, and I'm not sure. I don't know what the deal is with it. Bizarre stuff. So anyway, as I say, maybe tomorrow, Gordy will come on here, the Angry Scotian, Gordon Berry, and address some of what this mainstream reporting has been alleging, address some of these concerns that other people have been having with regard to this Save the Children convoy. There's also speculation that this 1 million person march that has been announced for a middle of September, I think around September 20th, don't quote me on that date, that might be tied into the Save the Children convoy or coordinated with it in some way. There's been no confirmation of that at this point. So that again is just talk at this point. But what is also clear is that the thrust of this, the focus of everything going on here is broader than what happened in Ottawa with the Freedom Convoy during the winter. in 2022. This is much different. And you can see that there is a focus on common law ideology here. There is a focus on all of these hot button issues. And while there has been some denial here that it is in any way sort of directed or connected, I guess, to the Sound of Freedom movie, no doubt it is benefiting to some degree from the popularity of that. And there's constant reference to it and constant reference to saving the children. The hashtag save the children is out there, and everybody is being encouraged to use that as well. So I don't think that the link there, insofar as it's dealing with the same issue, it can be denied. It's certainly present. And that's where it's all at right now. Still no specific date announced. We can see that there's a First Nations element to this. We're told the destination is Toronto. The exact date not set, but possibly could be coordinated with this big million-person march, if it ever gets to be that big. I don't know. Around the middle of September. And that involves apparently a lot of people from the Muslim communities in Canada. So we'll see how that rolls out. And it's a different kind of thing than what happened in Ottawa. That is for sure. That is for sure. I am told that there will be some sort of really big announcement within the next day or two. So maybe even here on this program tomorrow night, we might be able to share that big news with you, especially if Gordon shows up on this program and if he has that information for us. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. Wouldn't be at all surprised if that's the case. And that's where that's all at. So stay with me. I am going to take a brief break and we'll come back with a little more news right after this. Don't go away.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Going on there. Let me just back over here. I'm not sure where that audio is coming from that I'm hearing. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but I'm just looking in here in the chat. Let's take a look and see what you folks are saying here in the chat. It looks like there's a little bit of a turmoil going on in the chat tonight. What's the problem in the chat room? Are we having some disagreement in there? Louis Fast, I can ignore her and Rick for making fun of us on his show. Who am I making fun of, Louis? I'm not making fun of anybody. Louis Fast. Louis Fast. I don't know. Well, I don't know. You guys tell me. Do we have a problem? What's the problem in the chat, folks? Oh, Louis has the hots for Lori. Is that the problem? That's interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. Well, you guys can tell me in the chat if I need to do something. I don't know what's going on. I don't have time to sit here and read all the chats. And Louis Fast says behind the scenes, he sees everything. So I guess Louis must be one of the key players in the the Save the Children convoy. Is that right, Louis? Is that what you're telling us? Can you share any info or anything? I don't know. If you have anything to say, spit it out, man. Share it. Sharing is caring. Tell us what you know. We're waiting. Anyway, what else is being said in the chat here tonight? I don't know. Nothing of relevance, I guess, because everybody's focused on some sort of crap going on that I'm not really aware of. I don't know what it is. So probably not worth my time. Anyway, did you guys see this car, this flying Toyota Corolla? Maybe not. I mean, I do some automotive journalism, right? So I came across this. It was like, holy smokes. Let me show you this. This guy took a Toyota Corolla. I mean, if you could take Evel Knievel and combine those stunts with what they did on the Dukes of Hazzard, then you would end up with what I'm about to show you. This is crazy town. Oh, I hope I still have it here. The flying Toyota Corolla. Where are you? I'll find you. Come on. Not there, not there, not there. Won't be there. It's not there. You got to see the flying Toyota Corolla. Oh, for crying out loud. I guess it got deleted. I know where to find it, though. Pretty easy. So let me bring it up here. So this guy took this Toyota Corolla and put it into the second story of a house. And he didn't do it like it wasn't like a super professional planned thing. I guess he just did it. He just did it. Crazy. So this is in, where was this? This was in Decatur Township. And so you got it. It's in Pennsylvania, Lewiston, Pennsylvania, quiet neighborhood until this happened, where this dude puts this car into the second story of this house. This is crazy. Look at this. There it is. I'm not lying. Not making it up. Not making it up. Here it comes. This computer is so slow. Okay. There it is. Told you. Second story. Lewiston, Pennsylvania. So this guy, I guess it's a guy. They don't actually identify the sex. So the driver, I'll call the driver the pilot, takes this car and somehow gets it airborne. How? Well, there was a culvert here, and the speed at which this must have happened must have been incredible. He must have been right PO'd about something, or just being a crazy daredevil, one or the other. But got this thing up to speed as fast as it could probably go, hits the culvert, uses it as a ramp, and launches this thing, this little car, into the house, second floor. Bammo. Is it a Corolla? Yeah, it's a Corolla. It's all smashed up now. Now it's junk. There's a big tow truck. And there's a big crane from the fire department coming to do something. And there's the car again, sitting in the house. So he did it on purpose. So the cops haven't really told us what the motive might have been. Maybe they don't know yet. I hate to laugh. It's pretty serious stuff. Somebody could have been killed. Nobody was. But the pilot of the Toyota Corolla is now facing a litany of charges that include possibly things like mischief. What are the other ones? Aggravated assault, I think, is one. A whole variety of things. I've got a list here. An unbelievable jump. Yeah, so the vehicle had the ability to, it actually cleared some other cars that were in the driveway, went right over top of them. Right over top and into the second floor of that house. Yeah. Possible charges include aggravated assault, recklessly endangering lives, and criminal mischief. Wow. Pretty insane, man. Pretty insane. All I can say is I think somebody's been watching way too many episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard. But hey, where there's a will, there's a way. Can you imagine the speed that thing must have been going to achieve that kind of height? Wow. So lucky nobody was killed. Yeah, Mouth says Meth Daddy's home. Yeah, Alicia says must have been a big bang. Yeah. I would think so. Could you imagine just, sitting there in the bedroom upstairs and then some car just comes crashing through the wall? Why do I have a feeling this has something to do with some sort of lover's spat? Yeah, interesting, eh? I don't know. Though, we can go to Toronto and we can go to Vancouver and we could go to Washington. We could go anywhere and we could have convoys for days and we could call for change and we might even get some change. But what good is it if we don't exile the Knights of Malta?
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
There's some truth to it, though. There's some truth to it. Thank you, Choosy. We'll get into more of the Knights of Malta stuff, and I'm working on some T-shirts too. I really am. I'm so darn busy. I just don't have time to get stuff done, man. I really don't. I'm just working constantly, and I hope you guys appreciate what we do. I hope that you find value in it. I appreciate you being here every night and joining the family. And regardless of what happens with this convoy, regardless of what happens overall, I can only say that I think we do have a great community here, a great family. And I've been thinking a lot about it, I think in some respects, maybe I've been thinking we need to expand what we are doing here with this channel, expand the the Maverick family. We need to expand the focus of what we do so that we become a movement within the movement, or maybe a new version of the movement. Because as you can see, with all of the fighting that's been going on and all the insanity that's out there, I think maybe I just want to say this. Okay. I know the world today is a very lonely place. There is a lot of craziness going on. It's becoming increasingly difficult to know what's real, what isn't real, who's your friend, who isn't a friend, who you can trust, who you can't trust. What are the motivations behind this person and that person? And what do you have to do to get your life back? And I know that when you're on the side of freedom these days, sometimes you become the one who's exiled. And you're not even a Knight of Malta. You're a Maverick Knight. But being a Maverick Knight is different because we simply fight for truth. We do fight for justice. We fight for freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, all the traditional freedoms, individual rights and freedoms. That's what this channel is really all about. Freedom of media, largely, freedom of speech, free speech. It's a free speech platform. Freedom, though, the word freedom, it means different things these days to different people. I've tried to define what freedom means to me, and I think I've tried to define what freedom, how we defend freedom, what kind of freedom we defend here on this channel. At least it's what I'm trying to do. It's what I've tried to do with the channel, to serve the public interest in that way. And I just want to say, I know that people are scared out there. I know that a lot of people are lonely because some of you have lost your families over your political beliefs. You've lost maybe even a lot of your friends. A lot of people out there isolated. But it's okay. It's okay. We've all got challenges here. You have a family here. You can come here. I don't know where all this stuff's going to go, but we'll always be here. You can find some sanity here. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel like you have to embrace anything crazy. Don't feel like you have to succumb to anything for anyone. Okay? Like, we're about peace here. We're about reality. We're about free speech. We'll explore a lot of different things. And sometimes I even get agitated, because I don't like it when I see people get hurt. And I hope what I'm saying tonight makes sense to you. I just want everybody out there to know that this place is for you. And I'll never lead you astray. You can come here. No matter how crazy things get out there, okay? We're going to wrap it up for tonight, folks. And I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for joining me here. It's going to be okay. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.